Due to the nature of the M1 Garand being a military service rifle, these rifles actually stayed in service from World War II up until the Korean War. A lot of these rifles that ended up in modern day hands having some replacement parts from the Korean War, meaning that the ones that are still available with all World War II matching parts, incredibly valuable. So an easy way to tell is the following. First things first, on an M1, you can tell the data manufacturer on the receiver simply by researching the serial number and the maker. The grand majority of M1 Garands that were ever produced were actually made during World War II. It's very rare that you see some in the 50s, although they do exist. Next thing you want to check is the barrel date of manufacture. So first thing you want to do, pull the charging handle to the rear till it locks open, and over here in the slot where the charging handle normally goes, you will see a series of markings. These markings typically indicate the manufacturer and date of birth of the barrel. In this case, we have an SA7-44. This means that this barrel was manufactured by the Springfield Armory in July of 1944. This is actually quite rare because normally the barrels are the first things that get worn out and replaced as the guns go through their normal service life. So in this case, we have a receiver manufactured in 1944 and a barrel manufactured in 1944, meaning that this is the exact barrel that this particular rifle served with in the Second World War. Now, for the M1s, unlike German firearms or other firearms across the world, they are not numbers matching. The things you want to look for on these rifles is manufacturer matching. Oftentimes, when parts get replaced on these rifles, they start off their life as a full Springfield, full Winchester, etc. And then if parts get replaced, the armorers didn't really care what manufacturer's parts they put in as long as they worked. So, finding a rifle with all manufacturer matching parts is incredibly important. Let's check how to see that. So, first things first, on the top of the bolt right here, there's going to be a series of codes on top of the bolt. The main thing you're looking for in the case of a Springfield is the SA letters. So in this case, we have a Delta 28287-12SA. That meaning that this is a Springfield Armory bolt. Next, into the rifle. Another thing you want to look out for on the M1s is on the trigger packs themselves. What you want to do is you want to remove it out of the rifle, and on the side plate over here, you want to look for that same SA marking. In this case, that it is present right there. Another thing you can do is you can put these onto fire and release the hammer ever so slowly, and sometimes, not all of them, but sometimes you can find the same SA marking on the safety selector as well. So in this case, we have a full Springfield Armory trigger group. Then you want to remove your stock. And on the inside of the M1, there's only one other place that you primarily want to look for, and that is this op rod right here. On the front section of the op rod, you have a little code section, and as you guessed, we're going to look for that nice little SA marking. In this case, we have a 035382-9SA. SA standing for, you guessed it, Springfield Armory. Then after that, what you want to look for is stock cartouches. One easy way to tell with guns that have actually been issued in military service is that you want to look for a special P acceptance mark in the wrist of the stock. This means that the stock itself was accepted into military service and is not a CMP replacement. So in this case right here, you look at that little P shape right there. That indicates that this was actually an issued stock from the military. Second thing you want to look for is manufacturer and inspector's markings. So over here we have an SA-GAW paired with crossed cannons. That is the inspector's mark of the actual inspector who okayed this stock for military service. So essentially the stock received these markings first, and then once it was approved by the inspector, received that P mark later on once it officially got adopted. And over here on this particular example, if you look way down here, there's a tiny little marking. This right here is an actual Springfield Armory crossed cannons, meaning that this is an all Springfield Armory manufacturer matching gun with a Springfield Armory stock. Meaning that this rifle is actually a time capsule of the Second World War of exactly what this M1 looked like back in the 40s, unlike other examples that you normally see with replaced parts from the Korean War. Another thing that comes with these rifles normally from the Second World War, if they're normally all parts and manufacturer matching, especially with the barrels, the original barrel from the war, typically those guns have been quite through a little bit of service and are typically in more of a beat up condition than the more better looking CMP guns. So finding one like this that's in an amazing shape with nice sharp cartouches, smooth actions, and really good rifling, quite rare. This actually makes this probably the crown jewel of most M1 Garand's collectors' collections.